What's up? What's good? Dom here, back with another video. If you guys are new here, hi. I post weekly videos about photography and videography just like this one, so be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified whenever I post brand new videos. With that being said, today we're gonna be taking this ugly location, which is my apartment right now, and we're gonna try and do some self-portraits. We're gonna try and get a little weird with it and hopefully make something cool. So I don't know what your situation is or if you're watching this at a later date, but at this point, we're coming up on 2 months of being quarantined at home here in Quebec, Canada. At first, it was fairly easy for us to find some creative ideas to do around the house, whether it be photo ideas or video topics, and the very limited amount of time that we actually spent outside of the apartment, we were able to do some creative shoots as well. We posted almost 25 videos to YouTube at this point. We were able to do countless photography shoots as well, but after 2 months, I've got to admit, starting to run out of ideas. Until the renovations next door. Now, I won't really get into it, but long story short, there are pretty major renovations going on the other side of this wall right now in the apartment next door. So to keep the dust from coming over onto our side, we had to take all of our frames and everything off of the wall, and now we have a big plastic tarp kind of going across the entire wall. So today we're gonna try and use that to our advantage. It is typically very ugly, but I think it'll make for a pretty cool backdrop for some creative shoots. I also have a bunch of leftover plastic, so we're gonna probably be using those as well as props. I don't really know what I'm gonna be trying to do, but I'm gonna try and come up with 3 different ideas or concepts for this shoot. Definitely gonna try and go for something a bit dark and dramatic, but yeah. Let's see where this goes. I'm gonna bring you guys behind the scenes, kind of walk you guys through different lighting setups and what I'm trying to achieve right after this intro. All right, so never mind the mess around me. I had to move everything to be able to have access to this wall to do the shoot. So before every single shot, I'm going to try and run you guys through what's going on in my mind, what I'm trying to accomplish, and how I think I'm going to do it. For today's shoot, we're gonna be using my Canon 6D to take the photos, and I'm going to remote trigger the shots with my camera with the Canon app. So for this first shot, I'm thinking I'm going to be laying down a bunch of plastic on the ground. So this is actually probably gonna help for the shots I wanna do afterwards as well. So that'll all be set. I'll be able to sit down on the ground, and I'm gonna try some different poses and try to get something cool out of it. I don't really know in terms of lighting what it's gonna be, but I wanna do something a bit darker, a bit more dramatic. And then I've got these string lights here on the wall that I'm going to take down and probably kind of attach near the lens of my camera and have coming towards me, hopefully doing something cool that's kind of out of focus, maybe have it moving around with a slower shutter on the camera. I don't know, we're gonna try some things out and see how it goes. Aye. All right, so that first idea is completed. Took a bit longer than I thought it would to set up the lighting and the camera connect, but it is all set up now. So on to the next one. Next idea, I'm actually going to be, I'm actually going to be taking the plastic that I put on the ground, and I'm going to try and hold it in front of me, try to put a hole through it in the middle, and try to create some sort of foreground and try to get my face in between. Going to shine some light in between the two to try and create some more depth and make it a little bit more interesting as well. Let's try this out. Jesus, I have no balance. Okay, we are going to go on to the third photo of the day. Because the wall is covered in plastic, I thought it'd be cool to kind of try and make the wall wet. So I'm gonna try and spray some water onto the plastic on the wall, and I'm gonna try and get a really close up, kind of a macro shot of maybe just maybe here, like this part of my face, and really try to have the water in the back be really present in the shot. So we're gonna give this a last one a go. Let's do this. Future Dom here. We have skipped ahead 2 whole days because I took those pictures pretty late at night and decided it'd probably be best if I edited these at a later date. So here we are. I just got done doing the edits on these photos, and I wanted to go through and kind of show you guys the different shots that I got and the final results, and maybe talk you through a bit of what my editing process was. It's not going to be super intricate because, full disclosure, I do use a lot of my own presets that I've built out throughout the years to apply certain color corrections or effects on my photos, so it's not all that interesting, but I want to still take a few minutes to kind of go through and show you guys what I came up with. So let's jump into the computer and check that out. All right, so jumping into Adobe Lightroom, this is actually where I did most of the editing for these photos. I only brought one into Photoshop. I'll show you guys a bit later, but that is it. If not, for this set, I ended up taking around 45 pictures, 45 photos, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but I actually had the 10-second timer go on, and most of the time spent throughout the shoot was actually just setting everything up. To be honest, I didn't take too many photos of each setup once I knew what I wanted to do and had everything set up. That being said, this is the first photo that I got from the first setup. I'm pretty happy with this one. If we look at the original right out of camera, kind of underexposed, but I was able to bring some of those colors back out and increase some saturation. Didn't mess around too much with any of the colors, and yeah, just made it kind of punch more. I like a lot of contrast in my images, so that's where most of the look comes from for this one. Moving on to the second set of images, I actually ended up editing 2 photos from this set. I really enjoyed this one here where I'm looking through the tarp. If we look at the BTS of this looked pretty ridiculous when I was doing it, but I think the results paid off. If we look at the original right now, this is the raw image, so a lot more purple and kind of overexposed, but with the edit I was able to shift the colors to a more kind of a greenish blue tint, which I really enjoyed, and again a lot of contrast. Tried bringing the eyes out a bit more as well, and that's pretty much what I did on this one. I had to crop into this image to get a different look as well. There was a lot of kind of plastic in the bottom and my face really wasn't centered, so I ended up cropping it like this, and that is this first image. Then if we move on to the second one, a bit more of a greener tint on this one. I had a bit more trouble trying to get the skin tones a way that I enjoyed, but this is ultimately what I came up with. I really wanted to have the string lights and the light that was coming from it to be really bright orange to really contrast with the rest of the green plastic. And if we look at the original, again, it was the same colors, so this is what we had originally. Again, kind of bright, but I was able to bring it back here because I did want a darker look for these. If we move on to the third set here, I just included this one because I wanted to show you guys what the water on the plastic on the wall ended up looking like. So as you can notice here, the water drops were kind of small, and if I focused on anything that wasn't precisely the wall, you really couldn't see the water on the wall. So I really did want to convey that regardless of the idea not working out in the first place. So this is the final image that I ended up getting, and let's jump into Photoshop and I'll actually show you guys what I ended up doing. So if we go here, we can see I just added a layer on top of my original image. As you can see here, we can see that my hair is wet. There's water drops in my face, on my neck here, and in the hair. But I really wanted to convey that look where you had the water on the plastic in the back, or just generally within the image. So if I turn off these extra layers here, we can see that this was the image straight out of Lightroom with my color tweaks and adjustments that I made beforehand. And then I ended up going to Unsplash and taking an image of the water drops here and making an overlay on this image. So I went to unsplash.com. If you're not familiar with it, really cool site where you can download some free images to use with your own. So this is an image by Mike Newbury that I found on his profile. I was just looking up for rain or water drops or anything of the sort. Ended up finding this one here and making an overlay to end up looking like this. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I basically just made a quick mask layer here where I took out all of the overlay from on top of my face because I found that to be a bit distracting. But yeah, this is what I ended up coming up with. That's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys are finding ways to stay creative while being at home. That being said, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.